In this tutorial, we're going to go over some practice questions on Surds. So I've got a number of questions to help us basically understand the basic idea of Surds. So just before we get to start, we need to understand a few things. So when you have the root of a squared, basically we do understand that this is the same as what? It is the same as what? A. Because we do understand that a root, the square root, is the same as what? Raising it to the power 1 over 2. So you can clearly see that they're going to give you what? They're going to cancel out and they will give you a. Okay. Now, apart from that, what else can we talk about? So it is also very important to note that when you have a over b under a root, that is basically the same as what? Having the same root on a as well as on what? On b. That is the basic idea. That is the basic concept that we need to basically get to understand in such a case. So what about if you were given, for example, root of 64? So we're saying root of 64 is the same as root of what? Root of 8 multiplied by 8. Because we know that 8 by 8 is 64. Then we can now separate the square root. So root of 8, root of 8. Then think of root of 8. What basically can you multiply for it to be equivalent to 8? We do understand that you can multiply what? 2 and 4. Which is going to simplify to what? Root of 2, root of 4. So the root of 4 is known. It is what? It is a 2. So we have 2, then root of 2. So root 2 is what we're calling a surd. We can simplify it. Okay, what else can we say? So now we do know that the root of 8 is basically equivalent to that. So we can now substitute. So 2 root of 2, where there is root of 8. Then again we do have another one. So I can also put 2 root of 2 there as well. Basically what will be the result there? So 2 multiplied by 2 is a 4. Then root of 2 multiplied by root of 2 is what? So we said root of 2 is the same as root of 2 times 2, which is going to be what? A root of 4. Root of 4 is a 2, so I have a 2. So we've basically seen that our result is what? Is 8. Okay, so that is what we're trying to say. So now I've got a lot of questions, of course, which may even take us an hour. So watch to the end so that you basically get to understand the different questions that you may be given under Surds. So the first question is to simplify. So now let's say you've been given 2 root of 28 minus 3 root of 63 minus 8 the root of 7. So how basically do you get to simplify that? So the basic idea is to make sure that you get to have what? The lowest form that you can simplify. So in this case, if you look at 7, the root of 7 is basically, so 7 is an odd number. And there is no other number, there are no two numbers that you can multiply to give you a 7, apart from 1 and 7. So that is a surd. So we want to make sure that we convert all these numbers to the same form. So 2, we do have a root of 28 on the first part. So we also understand that in terms of 7, the root of 28 is what? Is the same as 4 by 7. Okay. So I can substitute that. Where there is root of 28, I can put root of 4 by 7 there. Minus a 3. What is 63? So I would want to express it as well in terms of products of what? In terms of products of 7. So what do we know? At least we know that 7 by 10 is what? Is a 70. No, now, so what we have is basically less than that. What if we tried 7 times 9? What is it going to be? So that would mean you are removing 1 7 from the 10 7 that you had multiplied in the first place. So you can subtract a 7 there. We have 63. So 7 times 9 is 63. So where there is 63, we can put 7 multiplied by 9. Minus 8 root of what? Root of 7. Okay. We can now distribute. We said when you have the root of a multiplied by b, this is the same as what? The root of a, root of b. So where we have our root of 4 by 7. It's the same as root of 4, root of what? Root of 7. Equal to on the middle part, where our 7 by 9 is the same as what? Root of 7, root of 9. Then the other part we just have what? A 7. So we've clearly seen that there are some parts that we can simplify there. For example, if you look at the root of the root of 4. The root of 4, root of 9, those we can simplify them. So we have 2 multiplied by, root of 4 is what? It's a 2. So remaining with a third root of 7 minus the other parts. At least we know that we can determine what? The root of 9. It is a 3. So that 3 there multiplied by the 3 that is coming from the root of 9 multiplied by the root of 7 minus 8 root of what? 7. So what do you think? What can we do from this stage? 2 by 2 is a 4. Root of 7. 3 by 3 is what? It's a 9. Root of 7. Then we have minus 8 root of what? Root of 7. So at that stage, we are now have a same side there. What can we do to simplify it? So we have like terms. So at least we know the side is the same. So we're going to have 4 minus 9 minus 8. I've just corrected the coefficients of the side. Then we have root of 7. 4 minus 9 is minus 5. Minus 5 minus 8. 5 plus 8 is what? It's basically 13. We maintain the sign. So we have negative what? Negative 13 root of 7 as this most simplified form of that question. Okay, let's move. Now let's say in the second part of the question, we've been given 4 third root of 2 minus 2 third root of what? Third root of 16. How is this one different? How do you get to approach it? Okay, so let me add one more thing there. So minus the third root of what? 54. So let's try to express this in the simplest form. So we've seen that the lowest guiding side there is a 2. So we want to make sure that even the other 2, we try to express them in what? In terms of the 2 that we have. So I'll maintain the first part. The middle part, how do you express 16 in terms of the products of 2? So 16 is the same as what? 8 multiplied by 2. Okay. Then the other part, the third root of 54. What number can you multiply twice to give you 54? So at least we know that 25 plus 25 is what? It's a 50. So if we try 26, 26 plus 26 is going to be what? 6 plus 6 is 2, so I have 52. How about 27 plus 27? 27 plus 27 is basically going to give us a 54 there. Okay. So it's 27 by 2. Okay. We can now move. So we have 4 third root of 2 minus 2. So where we have a product, we can now distribute the third root there. So I'll say the third root of 8, third root of what? Third root of 2. Just like we said, when you add the root of a plus b, we are saying it's the same as root of a, root of what? B being multiplied together. That is the basic concept there. That's what we're saying. We can move minus the third root of 27 multiplied by the third root of what? The third root of 2. So we've seen that basically we've come up with a common form, which is like the third root of a 2 there. So we have 4 third root of 2. Then now the question is, what is the third root of 8? What number can you multiply 3 times to give you 8? So we do understand that it's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is giving you 8 there. So we multiply 2. So we have the minus 2 there. Then the third root of 8 is a 2. The third root tells you what number can you multiply 3 times to give you that. then we can simplify the third root of 2, so we'll just write it. Minus, what's the third root of 27? What number can you multiply 3 times by itself to give you 27? Is there any number? 3 by 3 by 3. 3 times 3 is 9, by 3 is going to be what? 27. So I have a 3 there. Okay. Then a third root of 2 remains. So at this stage, we can move. So what is 4 multiplied by the third root of 2? So maintain it the way it is. Then this part, negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 multiplied by the positive 2 is going to be minus 4. Then we do have a third root of 2 there. Then the other part, negative 3, we'll maintain it the way it is. Negative 3, then the third root of what? A 2. So at this point, we now have the common part of the side at the end there. So we can just correct the like terms. 4 minus 4 minus 3. 4 minus 4 is a 0. So this is like can cancel out to give us a 0. So this will stand out to be the solution. You have what? You have the minus 3 third root of what? Third root of 2. So we simplify that side. Okay, let's have 4 root of 50 minus 9 root of what? 32. How do you simplify that side? You can feel free to pause the video and try it out just before we continue. Okay, I hope you had time to pause the video. We can now continue. Okay, so we would want to simplify this. So now in this case, if you look at this question, it's different from the questions that we've been looking at, because in these other questions, what we had noticed is we had a guiding small surd or a lowest surd that was guiding us. But then, in this case, we don't have anything to guide us. But at least we know these can be expressed in form of a product of 2. So 50 is the same as what? 25 multiplied by 2. Then minus 9. 32 is the same as 16 multiplied by 2. Which is already coming out because we know we can simplify the root of 25 and the root of 16. So we have 4. We can split that in the brackets. Root of 25, root of 2, minus 9, root of 16, root of 2. So we have a 4. Root of 25 is a 5. Minus 9. Root of 16 is what? It's a 4. Root of 2. Four by 5 is what? It's a 20. Root of 2. 9 by 4 is what? It's a 36. 9 times 9 is 18. 18 plus 18 is going to be what? It's going to be a 36. So, root of 2. So these are like terms. The sides are the same. So 20 minus 36 is a minus 16. So root of 2. That is the more simplified form of that side. Okay, let's try to move. Now, let's say you've been given 5 root of 12 plus 2 root of 3. How do you get to simplify that one? So basically, these are very easy. So root 12 is the same as what? 3 by 4. So 2 root of 3, that is already in the simplest form. So we have 5 root of 3 root of 4 plus 2 root of what? 3. So I've just split the 2 there. Then we can simplify the root of 4. So root of 4 is a 2. 2 times 5 is going to be a 10. Root of 3 plus 2 root of 3. 10 plus 2 is going to be what? 12. So we have 12 root of 3. So basically think of it in this way. It's like where there is a surd there, where you have the root of 3, it's like you have what? You have x. So 10x plus 2x is going to be what? It's going to be 12x. So now, where there is x, know that there is what? A third root. So it's 12 root of what? Root of 3. Okay, I have a very interesting question. 2 root of 8 over a 3 minus 3 root of 18 over 5 minus root of 50 over a 2. So feel free to pause the video and try this one out. Okay, so let's try to just get to simplify it. So we have 2. Root of 8 is the same as what? Is the same as 2 times 4. The middle part, 18 is the same as what? Is the same as 9 times 2. Then 50 is the same as what? Is the same as 25 by 2 over a 2. Okay. So we know 2 root of 2 by 4 is the same as root of 2 root of 4. So we're dividing by 3 minus, in the middle part, root of 9 by 2 is the same as root of 9 root of 2 over 5. Then the other part, root of 25 root of what? Root of 2 over 2. Okay, let's try to move. So now at this stage we do know that basically there are some parts that are simplified, there that are not sides. Root of 4 can be simplified, root of 9 can be simplified, and root of 25 can also be simplified. So basically this is going to reduce to 2. Root of 4 is what? It's a 2. Then I'll maintain the side there. So root of 2 divided by 3. The middle part is going to be minus. The root of 9 is going to be a 3. So we have, I'll maintain the 3 there. Then I'll multiply by the root of 9, which is a 3. Then I'll maintain the sides over 5. On our right hand side, the root of 25 is what? Is a 5. So minus 5. Then we'll maintain the root of 2 because we can't simplify it further than that. So we can clearly see that what we have now is we basically just have the root of 2 attached to all these. So 2 times 2 is what? It's a 4. So we have 4 root of 2 over 3. The middle part we have a minus. 3 by 3 is going to be a 9 root of 2 over 5. Then we have minus 5 root of 2 over a 2. At this point, I would want us to basically get to look at the fraction part first of all. The root of 2 is basically the one and the same. So let's look at the 4 over 3 as the first part of the fraction, minus 9 over 5, minus 5 over 2. So what is the common denominator there? The common denominator of 5 and 2 is 10. 3 and 5 is 15. So now, think of it in this way. If here is saying you have 15 there as the common denominator. So what is the common denominator of 15 and 2? It's 30. So it's 30 that is going to accommodate 3, 5, and 2. So I can divide. 3 into 30 is going to be a 10. 10 by 4 is going to be a 40. 5 into the 30 is going to be 6. 6 multiplied by 9 is going to be what? So at least we know that 5 by 6, at least we know that 9 by 5 is 45. So if we're trying to say 9 by 6, you add the 9 to the 45. It's going to be what? So 9 by 6 is going to be 45 plus a 9. So that is going to be a 54. So we have minus 54. 2 into 30 is 15. 15 times 5 is what? 2 into 30 is 15. 15 by 5 is going to be what? So 5 by 5 is going to be, it's going to be a 25. 5 by 1 is 5 plus 2, 75. Is that true? Does that make sense? Because if you think about it, 15 can go into 64 times. So 60 plus 15 is going to be 75. So it's okay. So 40 minus 54 is going to give us what? For the first part, 40 minus 54 is going to be a minus 14. So 14 plus 75 is going to be what? So that is going to be 9, 8. So we have minus 89. So we're going to have a minus 89 over what? Over 30. So that is what we've simplified for the fractions. Is there the highest common factor between these guys? So we have a surd attached to that, root of 2. So that is the most simplified form of this surd. Okay. Then let's move. Let's say you have 3 multiplied by the third root of 54 over 2 plus 5 third root of what? 16 divided by a 3. So feel free to pause the video and try this one out. Okay, so we basically understand that we would want to express a 54 in terms of a product. So 54 is the same as what? 27 by 2. So we have a third root of 27 by 2 over what? Over a 2 plus. So the third root of 16. 16 is the same as what? Is the same as 8 multiplied by 2 over what? Over a 3. So at least we do understand this time around that. So that 3 is basically not a power. It's basically part of the root. It's the third root. So 3. So we're going to have the root of what? The third root of 27. Then the third root of what? The third root of 2. So we've talked about that rule of a surd. That allows us to distribute the surd or the square root or any root, third root, fourth root. You just get to distribute it the way it is. So on the other part, equally, the 3 is not a power to 5, it's just a third root. So plus 5. So the third root of what? Third root of 8, as well as the third root of what? The third root of 2, divided by what? Divided by a 3 there. Okay, so we now have 3 over 2. The third root of 27 is going to be what? The third root of 27 is going to be a 3. Because you're trying to think of a number that you can multiply 3 times to give you what? 27. So it's what? It's a 3. The third root of 2, you can't simplify it. So we just write it there. Plus 5. The third root of 8 on the other side is going to be what? It's a 2. You can multiply it 3 times to give you what? That. Okay. So in the other part, we have the third root of 2, which we can simplify, over what? A 3. At this point, you have 3 over 2. Sorry, the numerator there, I can multiply my 3 and what? My 3. That is going to give me a 9. Then the third root of what? 2 over what? 2. Plus. Then we have 5 by 2, giving us a 10. Then the third root of what? 2 over what? Over 3. So we've seen that we've now attained an equivalent surd on both sides. So we basically just have to focus on the addition of the fractions. 9 over 2 plus 10 over 3. The common denominator there is going to be a 6. 2 into a 6 is going to be 3. 3 by 9 is going to be what? It's going to be 27. 3 into the 6 is going to be 2. Multiplied by the 10 is going to be a 20. 20 plus 27 is 47. So we have 47 over 6. So 47 over 6 attached to what? The third root of what? 2. So what becomes your simplified form of the surd? Okay, let's try to move then. Simplify this one. You have a product of 2 root of 3 open brackets 5 root of 2 plus 4 root of 10. So feel free to pause the video and get to work on that question. Okay, so what basically we're supposed to do there? So we need to multiply what we have outside with what is inside there. 2 the square root of 3 multiplied by 5 root of 2. So I'm going to show the multiplication there. So the normal way we get to distribute there, if you have x being multiplied by maybe let's say y plus z, that is equivalent to xy plus what? Xz. So you just get to do the multiplication there. And what if I attached a 4 there and a 2 there and maybe a 3 there? What would happen there? That would mean that I'll multiply 4 times 2 to give me 8, x times y to be xy, 4 times 3 is going to be a 12, then x by z is going to be xz. So the same is going to apply to what we have. So even as I get to multiply, first of all I'll start with the numbers there. So 2 times 5 is going to be a 10. The square root of 3 multiplied by root of 2 is going to be what? So root of 2, or I can start with the 3 itself. Root of 3, root of 2, plus, I go to the other part. 2 multiplied by 4 is going to be 8. So again I'll multiply the root of 3 multiplied by what? The root of 10. Okay. What do we have? So we have 10, root of what? Root of 3, root of 2, plus 8. So root of 10 is the same as what? Root of 5 by what? By a 2. Okay. Can I simplify it further there? So root of 5 by root of 2. So we have 10, root of 2, root of 3 plus 8. Then I have root of 3, root of 2, root of 5. So we can't simplify this one beyond that. We can't go beyond what has been given there. So if we can't do away with the root of 5, there is no way we can add these because they are unlike terms. So we can just simplify it the way it is. Root 2 times 3 is going to be what? It's going to be root of 6 plus 3 by 2 is going to be 6 by 5, just root of 30. Yeah, so that is okay, ending at that point. Alright. Let's look at another question where we have 2 root of x minus 3 root of y squared. So that means that you have 2 root of x minus 3 root of y multiplied by 2 root of x minus 3 root of y. So let's try to do a multiplication there. This by that is going to be a 4. 2 times 2 is a 4. Root of x by root of x. So x times x is x squared. I just want to show you there. So if you have the root of 2 by root of 2, this is the same as 2. Okay. How? So there are 2 ways in which I can prove that. I can show you that the root of 2 is the same as 2 to the power 1 over 2 multiplied by 2 to the power 1 over 2. So according to indices, we are told if the base is the same, maintain the base, then add the powers. So half plus half is going to be a 1. So that is 1. 2 to the power 1, which is just a 2. The other way in which you can think about this, how do you get to prove it? So it can be root of 2 by root of 2 is the same as root of 2 times 2, which is the root of 4. What is the square root of 4? It's a 2. Okay, so whichever is works for you. So the root of x by the root of x is just going to be x. Then 2, this same part, multiplied by the other parts. 2 times 2 is going to be a 6. So what is attached to a negative? So it's going to be minus 6. Root of x multiplied by the root of y. So we have root of x, root of y. Then I can go for the other parts now. The negative 3. Negative 3 by 2 there is going to be minus 6. Then we'll maintain what we have, root of x, then root of what? Y. Then the last part, this one, multiplied by that. Negative 3 by negative 3 is going to be positive 9. Root of y by root of y is basically just going to be a y. Okay. So root of y by root of y is just square root of y squared, which is just y. At this point, we have 4x, the middle part, they're like terms. Okay, so 6 plus 6 is going to be a minus 12. The root of x multiplied by the root of y is the same as what? It's the same as root of xy. Then plus 9y. So we've simplified this side. Okay. Okay, I still have some couple of questions that I want us to look at. Okay, so we've been given a product of 3 root of x plus 5 root of y multiplied by 3 root of x minus 5 root of what? Root of y. So how do we get to look at this? So basically what has been given here is like, it's just multiplying the side by its conjugate. So what is a conjugate? So a conjugate is when you have a plus the root of b, its conjugate is what? It's a minus root of b. So basically there is a special identity that we're going to see. Let's try to do the multiplication. So 3 by 3 there is going to be a 9. Root of x by root of x. So we have the square root of x multiplied by x is the same as root of x squared. So the root of x squared is what? X. So we have x moving there, looking at 3 root of x multiplied by the other part. 3 times 5 is going to be a minus 15. Then root of x by root of y is going to be the root of what? Xy. Then we'll move to the other part. 5 times this is going to be what? 15. Then root of what? Xy. 5 by 5 at the ends is going to be a minus 25. Then root of y by the root of y is just going to be what? A y. So basically we are going to notice that whenever you multiply a surd by its conjugate, the middle part basically turns out to be a 0. So you just have 9x minus 25y. So in every time you're just given a product of a surd by its conjugate, just multiply the like parts. So it only requires you to multiply this part by that part and also this part with that part. So which will be 3 by 3, 9. Root of x by root of x, which is x. 5 times 5 is a minus 25. Root of y by root of y is just a y, which is simplifies to that. Okay, another question. Root of x plus root of y squared. What is it? What is it equivalent to? So in terms of expansion, it's like we have the root of x plus the root of y being multiplied by the root of x plus the root of y. What do we get to do there? Okay, so root of x multiplied by the root of x is going to be what? So that is going to be equivalent to x. Root of x by the root of y is going to be what? That is going to be the root of xy. Then this by that. The root of y by the root of x is still going to be the root of xy. Then the root of y by the root of y is going to be a y. I'm sure I've proven that several times. I've shown you. Root of x by root of x is the same as x. Okay. X squared root of x squared is just x. We've shown that already. So that's where the x and the y are coming from. So we now have x plus y. The root of xy is coming twice. So consider a 1 to be there. So it's like you're going to have a 2 root of what? Root of xy. So we've simplified. Okay. So on the part of simplifying, we have one more that we can look at. Let's say they give you the root of 32 minus the root of 0.5 minus the root of what? 8. So you can try that one out before you get to see the solution. I just hope you had enough time to pause the video and you've tried it out. So basically, you would want to make sure that you don't have decimals. So we have root of 82 minus the root of 0.5 is the same as 1 over 2. Then root of 8. So for your own information, the root of a over b is the same as what? Root of a over the root of b. So just as you distribute with multiplication, when you say the root of ab is equivalent to the root of a by the root of b, even for division, the same is applicable. Okay. So 32 in terms of 2 is what? Is the same as root of 16 multiplied by what? Multiplied by 2 minus the root of 1 over 2 is the same as root of what? Root of 1 over the root of 2. Then the root of 8 is the same as what? So the root of 8 is the same as 4 by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So we can distribute the square root there. So we have the root of 16 multiplied by the root of 2. The root of 1 is just the 1. So it's 1 over the root of 2. Minus root of 4. Then root of what? Root of 2. At this point, we can now distribute what? The root. The root of 16 is going to be a 4. So we have 4 root of 2 minus 1 over root of 2. The root of 4 is going to be a 2. Then root of 2. So we have the common denominator there, which is what? A root of 2. We can multiply. We can divide. There you have a 1. 1 into the root of 2 is going to be root of 2. So now we multiply the denominator there. The root of 2 multiplied by what is the top pair. So we're going to have 4. Root of 2 by root of 2 is going to be what? A 2 minus. Divide the root of 2 by root of 2 is a 1. So we have a 1 in between. Divide the 1 into the root of 2 is going to be 2. So we are going to have a product of 1 into the root of 2 is root of 2. Root of 2 multiplied by negative 2 root of 2. So it's like we have a 1 there. 1 times the minus 2 is going to be a minus 2. Root of 2 by root of 2 is going to be a 2. So we have 4 by 2, which is going to be 8 minus 1 minus 4 over the root of 2. 8 minus 4. Okay, 1 plus 4 is 5. So we have 8 minus 5 over the root of 2. 8 minus 5 is going to be what? 8 minus 5 is going to be what? So we have 3 over root of what? 2. Okay. So we are done with the issue of simplifying. Now let's try to look at a different form of the question where they are requiring you to express it in a different form, and also the idea of rationalizing the denominators. Okay. So you've been given root of 3 plus 1 over root of 3 minus a 1 plus root of 3 minus 1. So now the question says express this in the form of what? A plus b root of what? 3, where a and b are rational numbers. So it's like they only want you to remain with one part of the surd, which is just going to be like the root of 3. They don't want a and b to be surds. They want them to be rational. So what do you get to do there? How do you get to approach such a question? Okay, so before we get to do anything, we need to first of all get to add what we've been given, so that we have a common denominator even as we get to rationalize it. So what common denominator do we have in this case? Okay, so we have 1, we have a 1 there. So what we have there becomes our common denominator. So we have root of 3 minus a 1. So divide that into this part, it's going to be a 1. Multiply by the numerator is going to be maintained. Then for the middle part, 1 into the root of 3 minus 1 is going to be the root of 3 minus 1. So multiply by the numerator. So we're going to have a product of root of 3 by root of 3 minus 1. Minus, so we have a 1 there. 1 into that is still going to be that. So for the numerator we have a 1. multiplied by the root of 3 minus what? Minus 1. What do we get to have at that point? So maintain root of 3 plus 1. Then for the middle part, root of 3 by root of 3 in the brackets is going to be what? It's going to be a 3. Root of 3 by a negative 1 is going to be minus root of 3. The other part, negative 1 by the root of 3 is going to be minus root of 3. Negative 1 by negative 1 is going to be a positive 1. This is all supposed to be divided by what? Divided by the same expression that we have on the denominator there, which is the root of 3 minus what? 1. So we have root of 3 and a minus root of 3. These are like terms, so at least we know they can cancel out. So we have 1 plus 3, which is basically a 4, minus, so we have this plus that is a 4 plus a 1. It's going to be what? It's going to be a 5. So 5, we are also remaining with that, minus root of what? 3 over root of 3 minus 1. So I'll repeat that. So I was saying this part can cancel out with that part. They are subtracting. Then 1 plus 3 is a 4 plus a 1, 5, minus the root of 3 that had remained. Remember we had 2 of these, or in other terms we can write it to be, we have root of 3 plus 4 there, then minus 3 minus this part, they are like terms, so it's the same as minus 2 root of 3 plus 1. So it's basically going to still reduce to what we have. 4 plus 1 is going to be a 5. 4 plus 1 is a 5. This and that. 1 minus 2 is a minus. So that's where that is coming from. So now at this point it is easier to take that to the form of a plus the root of what? 3. It's easier because we can clearly see what we can do. So we can multiply by what we call the conjugate. So now the question is, what is a conjugate? So the conjugate is supposed to help us do away with what? Do away with the surd on the denominator part. So how do we get to look at such a question? Okay. So I'll do this. So we have 5 minus root of 3. Then we have negative 1 plus root of 3. Then I can change the sign in between the denominator. So it's going to be negative 1 minus root of 3. In the numerator we do what? We do the same. Okay, so we said, of course we did say, okay, so 5 by negative 1 is going to be what? 5 by negative 1 is going to be a minus 5. 5 by a negative 3 is going to be what? It's going to be minus 5 root of 3. Then the other part, negative root of 3 multiplied by negative 1. So negative by negative is going to be a positive. So we have positive root of 3. Then again the negative root of 3 by the negative root of 3 is going to be what? So that is going to be a positive 3. I'm sure you now know the laws, so you understand where that is coming from. Okay, so now for the denominator part we do have a surd multiplying by its conjugate. So we say just multiply the like parts. Negative 1 by negative 1 is going to be a positive 1. Root of 3 by root of negative 3 is going to be a minus 3. That's what we have. So like terms, 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5 is what? Negative what? Negative 2. Negative 5 root of 3 plus root of 3. So it's like negative 5 plus 1, which is a minus 4 root of 3. Over what? 1 minus 3 is a negative 2. We can divide by the negative 2 throughout. So we have 2. Oh, Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a 1, sorry. Negative 4 by negative 2 is going to be a positive 2, then root of what? 3. So we've already expressed our question, or our form that we were given in the form of a plus what? B root of what? 3. So that is how you approach such questions. Okay, moving on to the other part of the question, we need to now understand how we get to rationalize what? How we get to rationalize the denominators. So basically we've actually applied that in the previous question. Okay, so let's try to rationalize the denominator in the following questions. So now let's say you've been given 2 root of 3 minus root of 2 divided by what? 4 root of 3. How do you get to rationalize the denominator, and what does it mean to rationalize the denominator? So by rationalizing the denominator, it means that they don't want to see a surd on the denominator part. They don't want to see a surd. Okay, so we can, in this case, what we're going to do is we can just multiply by what? We can just multiply by what is on the denominator itself. So 4 by root of 3. So whatever you multiply the denominator, it should also be multiplied by what? The numerator. Okay, so let's try to do our multiplication there. So 2 root of 3 multiplied by 4 root of 3. 2 times 4 is going to be what? 8. Root of 3 by root of 3 is going to be a 3. Then we have this other part, negative root of 2 by 4 root of 3. So we have a minus 4. Root of 2 by root of 3 is going to be root of 6. Over 4 times 4 on the denominator part is going to be 16. Root of 3 by root of 3 is going to be a 3. 8 by 3 on the numerator. 8 by 3 is going to give us what? 24. Minus 4 root of what? Root of 6. 16 by 3 is going to be what? 16 by 2 is 32. Plus 16 is going to be what? 48. Okay, I would want to reduce that. So we now have 24 over 48 minus 4 over what? 48 root of what? Root of 6. So 24 into 48 is what? It's twice. So it's 1 over 2. So we have 1 over 2. 4 into 48 is going to be a 1 there, a 2 there. So it's like 12 times. So we have minus 1 over 12. Root of what? Root of 6. So in other terms, what we have is 1 over 2 minus root of 6 over 12. So we've rationalized the denominator. Even ending at this point, there's no harm to that, unless they specifically specify that they want it in the form of a plus root b, then root of maybe c. Unless they want it in that form, that's when you can go as further as we've done in this part. So basically, rationalizing the denominator doesn't want us to have a denominator to be part of what? To contain a surd. Okay, we do have another question. X divided by x plus what? The root of y. So we don't want to see the surd. We don't want to see that root on the y. How do you get to do away with it? Okay, so multiply by x minus root of y. We just change the sign. So we're multiplying by what you call the conjugate. Just change the sign of the denominator. Sign in between the denominator there. So x times x on the numerator is going to be x squared. X times the root of y is going to be what? We're going to have minus x root of y. Denominator part, x times x is x squared. Root of y by the root of y is going to be what? It's going to be minus y. Okay. So basically, we've simplified this. Okay. So this is fine. So we've rationalized what? We've rationalized the denominator because we can't see anything there. We can't see any surd on the denominator part. And that is basically the main idea of you rationalizing what? The denominator. Okay, so if you want, you can simplify it, but we've already rationalized what? The denominator. Now let's look at some more advanced questions. Let's say you've been given the root of 2, the root of 7, plus the root of 3, divided by 3 root of 7, minus the root of 3. How basically do you get to simplify that question? How do you get to rationalize the denominator? So we'll change the sign in between. Let's change the sign in between the denominator. So we'll say 3 root of 7 plus the root of what? 3. So whatever you do to the denominator should be done to the numerator as well. So I'll start. Root of 2 root of 7 by that. 2 times 3 is going to be what? It's going to be a 6. Root of 7 by root of 7. So we've talked about this. Okay. So we have a 7. Then again, the 2 multiplied by the 1 that is there. It's a 2. Root of 7 by 3 is going to be root of 3 times 7. Then again we move to this part. So we are doing the normal multiplication from algebra. So if you have a plus b being multiplied by c plus d, that is basically what you're doing. So it requires you first of all to multiply the first part with the other two parts. Then again you multiply the other one with the two parts as well. So we've already done our multiplication by the 2 root of 7, which is this part. We've now gone to the root of 3. So root of 3 by that is going to be plus 3. Then root of 3 by what? 7. Then root of 3 by root of 3 is going to be what? A 3. Over. So the good part about the conjugate and the surd itself, it only requires you to multiply the matching parts. Because the middle part of the summation basically gets to have opposite signs. And they get to do what? They get to subtract. Okay. So 3 by 3 is a 9. Root of 7 by root of 7 is going to be a 7. Root of 3 by root of 3 is going to be a 3. 6 by 7 is what? At least we know that 6 by 6 is 36. 6 multiplied by 6 is 36. So how do you get to multiply 6 by 7? So you add a 6 to 36. So 36 plus 6 is going to be what? Get a 4 from the 6, you remain with a 2. To make it 40 plus 2, 42. So 6 by 7 is 42. 3 by 7 in the brackets is what? Root of what? Root of 21. Even there it's going to be a 21 plus what? 3. 9 multiplied by 7 is what? We know 9 by 5 is 45. So plus 8, 10. 8 plus 5 is what? So get it 2 from the 5, make it a 10. Then you remain with what? 13. 4 plus 1, that is going to be a 63. So we have 63 minus 3. So basically at this stage we've even rationalized the denominator because we can't see a surd. So it's just a matter of now you getting to simplify what you have. So 42 plus 3 is what? 45. 2 plus 3 is what? It's a 5. So we maintain the 21 there. 63 minus 3 is what? A 60. Okay. So we've rationalized our denominator. So we can even simplify it by dividing by what? So if you look at the numerator there, you can factorize the 5, right? So 5 into 45 is 9 times. Plus root of 21 over 60. So I'm sure we can divide the 5 into the 60. How many times? That is like 12 times. So we have 9 plus root of 21 over what? Over 12. So you can end there. So you can go beyond if the question is requesting you to express your solution in the form of a plus b root of what? 21. Would have divided by the 12. So if you want, you can do that. So you have 9 over 12 plus root of 21 over what? 12. Divide the 9. 9 by 3 is what? It's going to be a 3 over 4 plus root of 21 over what? 12, which is very much okay. We now have x minus root of x squared minus a 9 divided by x plus root of x squared minus 9. So feel free to pause the video and try out this interesting question. Rationalize the denominator. We don't want to see a root to be part of the denominator. How do you get to approach this question? I'm hoping you've paused the video and you've tried it out. Okay, let's try. Let's get to do this. What are we supposed to do here? What do we get to do? So we're basically going to have, for the denominator, we change the sign in between. So we're going to have x minus the root of x squared minus 9. Then the numerator as well. Okay, so I'll start with the numerator. X times x is x squared. Then what is in the root there multiplied by what is in the root there? They are basically identical. So just like we said, if the root of x by the root of x is equivalent to x. So even there what we have is basically going to be the same. It's basically going to be the same there. Whatever is in the brackets is going to stand. So now remember what we're doing is, we've said x times x is that. But before it gets to even multiplier, so x by that is x squared. So now, how about the x again multiplied by what is there? It's going to be minus x root of x squared minus what? Minus 9. Then this part, negative of it by the x again, is going to be minus x again root of x squared minus what? 9. Now, this multiplied by itself is going to be a positive. So like I was showing, the root of x by root of x is x. So that multiplied by itself, the root is going to go away. So we're just going to remain with what? X squared minus 9. This is all going to be divided by what? The product of the surds and the conjugate. So for that, what did we say? We said just multiply the like parts. X times x is x squared. The root of that by the root of that is going to be a minus. So we have x squared minus 9. Okay. So we have x squared plus x squared. Then minus x is going to be a minus what? A minus 2x. Then we'll maintain the what? The radical there. X squared minus 9. Then minus a 9 over what? So for our denominator we have x squared. So distribute the negative. So we have minus x squared plus a 9. X squared plus x squared is going to be 2x squared minus 2x root of x squared minus 9 minus 9 over a positive 9. Okay. So we've actually rationalized what? We've rationalized our denominator because we can't see any radical being part of what? The denominator there. So that's how you get to approach such a question. Okay. Now let's say you have been given 1 over root of 2 plus a 1 root of 3 minus 1. Okay. So you've been asked to rationalize the denominator as well. So before we get to do that, we'd want to make sure that we get to simplify what we have. Root of 2 by root of 3 is going to be root of 6. It's 2 by 3. Root of 2 by 1 is going to be minus root of 2. Root of 2 by root of 3, sorry, we've done that already. 1 by root of 3 is going to be root of 3. 1 by negative 1 is going to be minus 1. What do we have? So we now have a 1 over root of 6. Then now we have a minus root of 2 plus a root of 3 minus 1. So I'll do that again. We have 1 divided by root of 2 plus 1 divided by or multiplied by root of 3 minus a 1. So our goal is to rationalize the denominator to make sure that there is no side that is appearing on the denominator. So we have to first of all to multiply or simplify it. So now we are saying we have the root of 2. So I have root of 2 plus 1 multiplied by root of 3 minus a 1. Okay. Root of 2 by root of 3. Root of 2, root of 3. Root of 2 by a minus 1 is going to be a minus root of 2. 3 by a 1 is going to be plus root of what? 3. 1 times 1 is going to be a minus 1. Okay. So that is what we have at that stage. So basically, how do we get to simplify it? How do we get to simplify it at that stage? Is there anything that we can do to make it better? So we can see at least that we have part of it that looks common. So I can get my first part and basically gets to factorize the common part. So if I can look at this part, I can clearly see that I can factorize out my what? My root of 2. So I'll put it outside. Then what is going to remain in the brackets is what? For the first part, root of 3 is going to remain. Then minus what? Minus a 1. Then the other part we have plus. We have plus root of 3 minus a 1. So is there anything that we can do to simplify it further than that? So that at least we're clearly able to see what we can do in terms of our multiplication, even as we get to do away with the surds. So we now have 1 over root of 3 minus 1 attached to root of 2 plus root of 3 minus 1 multiplied by what? We now need to understand. We need now to realize, think of something that we can multiply this so that we get to do away with what? We get to do away with what we have. Okay. So now consider this to be in brackets for one reason. So then I'll change the sign in between. So I can say root of 3 minus 1 attached to root of 2. The sign in between can become a negative. Then we'll have root of 3 minus a 1. We do the same to the numerator. So I don't have enough space here. So we have root of 3 minus 1 attached to root of 2 minus root of 3 minus 1. So on the numerator that is going to stand out, we have root of 3 minus 1, root of 2 minus root of 3 minus 1. Denominator part. This times that is going to have root of 3 minus 1 squared root of 2 times root of 2 is going to be what? It's going to be a 2. So we have a 2 attached to that. Then this times that is going to be a minus root of 3 minus 1 also squared. Okay. We need to simplify this now. So we've seen that what we have in the brackets is common. So we have root of 3 minus 1 times root of 3 minus 1. So what is that if you get to multiply? Root of 3 by root of 3 is what? It's a 9. Right? It's a 9. Sorry. Root of 3 by root of 3 is a 3. Root of 3 by a minus 1 is going to be a minus what? It's going to be a minus root of what? 3. The negative 1 by that again, it's going to be minus root of 3. 1 times 1 is going to be a 1. So we have 3 minus 2 root of 3 plus a 1. Then this is going to simplify to 4 minus 2 root of what? 3. Okay, can move. So for, I can move this down. Okay. So now, how do you get to simplify this? How do you get to make it look better? Okay. So now we have root of 3 minus 1, root of 2 minus root of 3 minus 1 over. So now where we have the squared part, I can put that. So I have 2 multiplied by 4 minus 2 root of 3 minus, so I can distribute the negative to that. So we're going to have a minus 4 plus 2 root of what? 3. So that is going to become 8. That is going to become what? A 4. Then I can remove a 2. Is there anything that we can do there? At least we have like terms. 8 minus 4 is going to be a 4. So we have a 4. Minus 4 plus a 2 is going to be a minus 2 root of 3. That's what we have down. I can indicate it. So we have a 4 minus 2 root of what? Root of 3. At this stage, at least we are clearly able to see that we can simplify that. So we can multiply by 4, changing the sign. So 4 times that, we're going to have 4 root of 2 root of 3 minus 1 minus 4 times that, then we've multiplied by the 4. We can now multiply by the 2 root of 3, multiply by that, multiply by the first part. We're going to have 2 root of 6, open brackets, root of 3 minus 1. Then the last part, root of 3 minus 1 multiplied by the 2 there. So outside the brackets, we're going to have a minus 2 root of 3, open brackets, root of 3 minus 1. All this to be divided by what? Our denominator is going to have a 4 by 4 to be a 16. 4 times that is going to be 8 root of 3. So basically that's a conjugate. We can just remove the middle part. This times what is going to be a minus 4 root of what? Sorry, 4 by 3. So 4 by 3 is 12. 16 by 12 is going to be a 4. So at that point you can basically even get to just simplify the numerator part and get to divide by the 4. So we've already rationalized the denominator because we can't see any radical attached to the denominator. Okay, so basically these are the things that you basically have to understand under Surds. Surds are very, very simple. I just hope that you've made it to the end of the video and you've understood and you'll not have any challenges with what? The Surds. Thank you very much for watching.